Have you ever found yourself lying in bed at night, replaying an awkward conversation from 5 years ago, or overanalyzing a decision so much that you end up making no decision at all? If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Overthinking is something we all do, and let's be honest, it's exhausting. It starts small. Maybe you're trying to decide what to wear to an event, but before you know it, your brain has spiraled into a full-blown crisis about what people will think of you, whether you belong there, and why you even agreed to go in the first place. One thought leads to another, and suddenly you are stuck in an endless loop of doubts, worries, and second guessing. But you don't have to live like this. Overthinking is just a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken. Imagine how much lighter, freer, and happier you'd feel if you could calm your mind, trust yourself, and stop obsessing over every little thing. In this video, we are going to break the cycle of overthinking step by step. We'll talk about why our brains get stuck in overthinking mode, how to stop it before it spirals out of control, and most importantly, how to take back your peace of mind. By the end of this video, you'll have practical, no-nonsense strategies to stop overthinking everything from small daily decisions to the big scary life choices. So if you're ready to quiet the mental noise and start living with more confidence and clarity, stick around. Recognize when you are overthinking. The first step in stopping overthinking is simple but crucial. Recognizing when you are doing it. The problem with overthinking is that most of the time we don't even realize we are stuck in a thought loop until it has already drained our energy. It feels natural to go over a situation multiple times, trying to figure out the best possible outcome. But when does it cross the line from productive thinking to overthinking? A good way to tell is by asking yourself, am I replaying the same thought without finding a solution? Am I stressing about something I can't control? Am I constantly second-guessing myself? Am I creating worst-case scenarios in my head? If the answer to these questions is yes, then you are not problem-solving. You are just overthinking. Catching yourself in the act is powerful because once you are aware of it, you can start to break the cycle. A trick that helps is to use a simple phrase like, "Oh, I'm overthinking again." It sounds basic, but calling it out helps you step outside your thoughts for a moment and see them for what they are. Just thoughts, not facts. The moment you recognize the pattern, you regain control. Instead of letting your thoughts drag you around, you can decide to pause, shift, and take action. The goal isn't to eliminate thinking altogether. It's about learning when to stop. Once you build awareness, you are already halfway to breaking the habit. Ask yourself, is this helpful? Not all thinking is bad. Sometimes taking the time to analyze a situation helps us make better choices. But overthinking is when you go beyond that point, when thinking turns into endless worrying, second guessing, and stressing over things that don't actually help you. The easiest way to tell the difference? Ask yourself one simple question. Is this thought helping me? Let's say you're obsessing over something embarrassing you said at a party last week. Your mind keeps replaying the moment, making you feel worse, but does thinking about it actually change anything? No. It already is in the past. You are just making yourself relive the discomfort over and over again. On the other hand, if you are thinking about how to improve your communication skills for the future, that's useful. That's productive thinking. But if your thoughts are just making you anxious, guilty, or stressed, then they are not helping, they are hurting you. Every time you catch yourself overthinking, pause and ask yourself, is this thought leading me to a solution? Am I learning something from this? Or am I just making myself feel bad? If your thoughts aren't helpful, make the choice to let them go. Redirect your focus to something more constructive, like taking action, distracting yourself, or simply moving on. Set a time limit for overthinking. Let's be real. You can't just tell your brain, stop thinking, and expect it to obey. The more you try to force yourself to stop overthinking, the stronger those thoughts become. But here's the trick. Instead of trying to stop completely, set a time limit for overthinking. Think of it like this. If you were in a meeting, you wouldn't let it go on forever, right? You'd schedule it, discuss the important points, and then end it. Treat your thoughts the same way. Here's how it works. The next time you catch yourself overthinking, set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes. During that time, let yourself think, analyze, and even worry. But once the timer goes off, you stop. After that, move on to something else, whether it's work, exercise, or a hobby. This method works because it gives your brain a structured space to process thoughts instead of letting them run wild all day. When you know you have limited time to overthink, your brain will actually focus on what's most important rather than spiraling into unnecessary worries. By setting boundaries on your thinking time, you create mental discipline. You take back control instead of letting your thoughts control you. Take action instead of ruminating. A big reason why we overthink is fear of making the wrong decision. We think that if we just analyze a situation long enough, we'll eventually find the perfect solution. But here's the truth. There's no such thing as a perfect decision. The more you hesitate, the harder it becomes to act. Overthinking leads to decision paralysis, where you spend so much time weighing your options that you never actually make a move. And ironically, not taking action is often worse than making the wrong decision. The best way to break out of this is to shift from thinking to doing. Next time you catch yourself overanalyzing, ask yourself, what's one small action I can take right now? For example, if you're overthinking about applying for a job, just submit the application. If you're stressing about what to say in a text, just send it. If you're debating whether to start a project, just begin. The moment you take action, your brain stops overanalyzing. Why? Because now you are focused on doing rather than worrying. Even if the action is small, it builds momentum and gets you out of your head. Remember, you can always adjust your course along the way, but you'll never get anywhere if you stay stuck in analysis mode. Shift your focus to the present moment. Overthinking pulls you into the past, rehashing things that already happened, or drags you into the future, worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. Either way, it takes you out of the present moment. One of the best ways to stop overthinking is to ground yourself in the present. Instead of letting your thoughts control you, shift your focus to what's happening right now. A simple way to do this is 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This exercise instantly brings your mind back to reality rather than letting it spiral into endless what-ifs. Another great method is mindful breathing. The next time you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts, take a deep breath in for 4 seconds. Hold in for 4 seconds and exhale for 4 seconds. Do this a few times and you'll notice your mind slowing down. The key is to train your brain to focus on what's happening now. Whether it's through deep breathing, noticing your surroundings, or simply paying attention to your daily activities, being present breaks the cycle of overthinking and helps you regain control. Stop trying to be perfect. Perfectionism is one of the biggest reasons we overthink. We convince ourselves that we need to say the perfect thing, make the perfect decision, or avoid every mistake. But perfection doesn't exist. Think about it. How many times have you hesitated to send a message, apply for a job, or start something new because you were afraid it wouldn't be good enough? The more you chase perfection, the more you get stuck in your head. Instead of aiming for perfection, focus on progress. Ask yourself, is this good enough for now? Most of the time it is. Will this matter in a year? Probably not. What's the worst that can happen, and could I handle it? For example, if you are overthinking a presentation at work, remind yourself that no one expects you to be perfect. They are there to listen and learn, not to judge you. If you stumble over a word, so what? Everyone does. Also remember that done is better than perfect. It's better to send the email, submit the project, or take action rather than overanalyze for hours. When you let go of perfectionism, you free yourself from the stress, anxiety, and overthinking that come with it. No one is perfect, and no one expects you to be. Focus on getting things done instead of making them flawless. Learn to accept uncertainty. One of the biggest reasons people overthink is because they crave certainty. We want to know for sure that we are making the right decision, that things will go as planned, and that we won't regret anything. But the truth is, life doesn't work that way. No matter how much you analyze a situation, you can't predict the future. There will always be some level of uncertainty. And the more you try to control everything, the more anxious and overwhelmed you'll feel. Instead of fearing uncertainty, embrace it. Here's how. Ask yourself, can I control this? If the answer is no, let it go. Worrying about something you can't change only drains your energy. Focus on what you can control. You may not be able to control every outcome, but you can control your attitude, actions, and mindset. Remind yourself that uncertainty isn't always bad. Some of the best things in life happen unexpectedly. Let's say you are overthinking a major decision like switching careers or moving to a new city. You might want a 100% guarantee that you are making the right choice, but that's impossible. Instead, focus on making the best decision possible with the information you have right now. Life is full of unknowns, and that makes it exciting. The sooner you accept that you don't need to have all the answers, the easier it will be to let go of overthinking. Challenge your negative thoughts. Overthinking is often fueled by negative self-talk. Your brain creates worst-case scenarios, making you believe things that aren't even true. But just because you think something doesn't mean it's real. The next time you catch yourself spiraling, challenge your thoughts. Ask yourself, is this thought based on facts or just my fear? Has this happened before? How did it turn out? Would I say this to a friend? For example, let's say you're overthinking a social interaction. Your brain says, I probably sounded so stupid, they must think I'm weird. But is that actually true? Did anyone say that? More than likely, they weren't even thinking about you. They were too focused on themselves. Here's another example. You're overthinking an email you sent. You keep rereading it, worrying that you made a mistake. But ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? If there's a small typo, no one will care. And if it's something bigger, you can always send a follow-up. The problem isn't your thoughts, it's the belief that your thoughts are always right. Your mind loves to create fear-based stories, but they are not always true. By questioning your thoughts, you take away their power. Instead of accepting them as facts, treat them as opinion and challenge them. Distract yourself with activities. One of the best ways to stop overthinking is to keep yourself busy. When your brain is occupied with meaningful activities, it has less time to overanalyze everything. Here's how you can distract yourself in a healthy way. Exercise. Moving your body, whether it is walk, yoga or dancing, helps shift your focus and release stress. Engage in a hobby, whether it's reading, painting, cooking or playing an instrument, doing something creative helps keep your mind in the present. Listen to music or a podcast. A good playlist or an inspiring podcast can help redirect your thoughts and improve your mood. Spend time with people. Hanging out with friends, family or even a pet can help break the cycle of overthinking. The key is to actively shift your focus. Instead of sitting alone with your thoughts, get up and do something. The more engaged you are in an activity, the less space your mind has for overthinking. For example, let's say you're overthinking a mistake you made at work. Instead of sitting there replaying it in your head, go for a walk or start a creative project. You'll find that once you're busy with something else, these anxious thoughts start to fade. Distraction isn't about avoiding your problems, it's about giving your mind a break so you can come back with a clearer perspective. Write down your thoughts. One of the most effective ways to stop overthinking is to write down your thoughts. When you're stuck in your head, your worries can feel bigger than they actually are. But when you put them on paper, you create a distance between yourself and your thoughts. Why does this work? It helps declutter your mind. Overthinking happens when your brain is overwhelmed with too many thoughts. Writing them down helps you sort through them and remove unnecessary mental clutter. It makes your worries feel smaller. Thoughts feel powerful when they are in your head, but when you see them on paper, you realize many of them are irrational or exaggerated. It helps you gain clarity. Sometimes you don't even know why we are overthinking. Journaling helps bring these reasons to the surface so you can address them. It reduces stress. Writing is a proven stress reliever. Studies show that journaling can lower anxiety and help you process emotions in a healthy way. A simple trick to stop overthinking is to do a 5-minute brain dump. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Write down every single thought that comes to mind without filtering or organizing. Once the timer stops, close the notebook and move on. This exercise helps you release your thoughts instead of letting them control you. If you want to take it a step further, you can also write solutions next to your worries. This shifts your mindset from overthinking to problem solving. Writing is like therapy for your mind. Try it the next time you feel stuck in a loop of overthinking. Practice gratitude daily. A simple but powerful way to stop overthinking is to focus on gratitude. When we overthink, our minds tend to fixate on problems, uncertainties, or regrets. Gratitude shifts this focus from what's missing or wrong to what's already good in our lives. When you practice gratitude, you train your brain to see the positives instead of obsessing over the negatives. It's like changing the lens through which you view life. Instead of feeling anxious about what might go wrong, you start appreciating the small things that are already right. Here's how you can build a simple gratitude habit. Start your day with gratitude. Every morning, write down or think about 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be big. Something as simple as I woke up today or have food on my plate works. Interrupt overthinking with gratitude. The next time your mind starts spiraling into endless worries, pause and ask yourself, what is something good in my life right now? End your day on a positive note. Before bed, think about one thing that went well today. It could be a kind of conversation, a productive day, or even just a good meal. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring your problems. It means balancing them with appreciation for what's already good. The more you focus on gratitude, the less power your overthinking has. You'll start feeling lighter, happier, and more in control of your thoughts. And remember, you can't feel grateful and anxious at the same time. So whenever you catch yourself overthinking, pause and find something, anything to be thankful for. It makes all the difference. Take action and let go. Overthinking thrives on inaction. The more we analyze a situation, the more we convince ourselves that we are not ready or that we need more time to think. But in reality, no amount of thinking will replace taking action. One of the best ways to stop overthinking is to just start. Instead of sitting in uncertainty, ask yourself, what is one small step I can take right now? If I weren't overthinking, what would I do? It doesn't have to be a big step. Even the tiniest action helps. If you're overthinking a work email, write a rough draft. If you're overanalyzing a decision, set a deadline and commit. If you're stuck in self-doubt, do one thing to move forward, no matter how imperfect. Once you take action, the next step becomes clearer. Overthinking keeps you stuck in your head, and action puts you back in control. And here's the most important part. Let go of the outcome. Not every action will be perfect. Not every decision will lead to best results. But that's okay. The goal isn't to make flawless choices, it's to keep moving forward. Overthinking tricks you into believing that if you think long enough, you'll find the perfect answer. But the truth is, clarity comes from action, not from excessive thinking. So next time you are stuck in overthinking, just do something. Take a small step and then another. Keep going. Your future self will thank you. At the end of the day, overthinking is just a thief of time, energy, and happiness. It keeps you stuck in your head when you should be out there living your life. Think about all the moments you have wasted worrying about things that never even happened. All the times you doubted yourself, held yourself back, or let fear make your decisions for you. What if, instead of being trapped in endless thoughts, you trusted yourself more? What if you took action without fear or failure? The truth is, life is too short to spend it overthinking. You don't need to have all the answers before you to move forward. You don't need to make perfect choices every time. And you definitely don't need to waste another minute drowning in what ifs. Instead, focus on what you can control. Learn to interrupt overthinking before it takes over. Trust that whatever happens, you will handle it because you will. So the next time your mind starts spiraling, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I am in control of my thoughts, not the other way around. That's it for today's video. If you found these tips helpful, share it with someone who can benefit from it. Now I want to hear from you. What's one thing you tend to overthink the most? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for tuning into today's video. Until next time, keep glowing.